Told you this multiple times, All Might. I'm not a villain. That you could have trusted me there. Well, why were you at the USJ then? To defend your sorry asses from getting killed. What do you mean by that? For God's sake. The people that were with the villains that very day were, well, how do I say this? They were trolls. Well, gum-gums, as I should say. They're not good people, as we like to say. There's good and bad trolls. The ones that I was fighting with you were at to be gum-gums. As the other thing, I do not know what that was. It looked like a weird bird type of thing that I've never seen before. But other than that, I don't know. But what about that little glowing thing in your chest then you fought? You mean my amulet? That's magic. I thought... Oh god, you didn't get told, did you? Oh no. Every single time a #1 hero is meant to be picked out and trusted with a secret that only top ranking heroes know. Oh my, you're an idiot. After when you reach the what do you mean, Midoriya? All Might said. Once #1 heroes are ranked, they get trusted with a secret that's been trusted throughout 200 years throughout humanity. The reason why quirks exist, the reason why everything the way it is at the moment, it's because of magic. When Merlin passed and Gumsy, or whatever his name is now, I completely forgot, it's lost to history, destroyed Merlin's staff, it let out a form of energy that let everyone, well, manifest what you manifest. There was so much magic stored in that staff, well, I think you get the gist of that. You get trusted with the knowledge that trolls and magic exist once you reach the #1 hero status. Nana Shimura, Tenzi, and Lara Tier were all trusted with this secret for 200 years. And all this knowledge that was trusted into them to be able to help defend us if I was unable to get there. But still though, that doesn't explain why you were there in the USJ though. As we do a flashback, 5 hours before all this happened. As 5 hours behind time would go by, as our protagonist Izuku Midoriya, with his horns and his human-like features and skin to match. Before I actually carried on with this, I would like to let you guys know one thing about the story. Izuku will have a little allergic reaction to it, but he won't have it as bad as what trolls do when they actually go into the sun and burn, turn to rock and die. Which, in the case of Izuku, there was actually a stone in the show that allowed him to walk in daylight. Let's just say Izuku used that before he turned himself into a troll by Merlin's magic. We're going to use that little turn here, so Izuku doesn't have actually be allergic to daylight. We're going to carry that on now, just to let you guys know. Bogey. What do you mean Bulag escaped? As it sounds, Blinky, he escaped. When I was about to impale him, he backed off and jumped straight into the water. I couldn't do much about it. And even if I could have risked dying like the other troll hunters did when they fought him. He may be out there, but at least I know if he's going to strike, he'll be going after me. He wants the amulet so bad to release his father, Gunmar, into the world, doesn't he? Then the only way to do that is setting a trap for him. But even then, it could be virtually impossible to catch him. We don't know until we try though, Blinky. As Blinky was just about to shout, Arg interrupted. You're right. What do you mean he's right, Arg? Blinky said. If Gunnar was about to get released, he'll need the amulet. Trap set, Arg said. Well, that will have to do then, Blinky said, as Izuku grabbed his bag and told them he had to go. As Izuku walked out, not knowing the path he was going to take would lead him into imminent danger and leading him to one of the biggest fights he ever had to face in the past 1 year of being a troll hunter, even worse than just fighting Bulag alone on the ocean side, or the, well, lake side, let's just say that, funny pun. as Izuku was walking home until he saw a flyer in the middle of the alleyway. The hell is this? Villains wanted. Raid on the USJ. Shit! Izuku said as... Wait. Is this what I've got? That's troll! Izuku said. Shit. I need to go get Arg, but it's sunlight. Why the hell would they fight? Unless... No. Izuku ran fast as he could, knowing that the humans who are even in the USJ at the moment were in trouble. And even if heroes were there, they wouldn't know if they could be able to handle the villains that was going to come up. As Izuku rushed back into Troll Market and showed the flyer to Blinky to translate for him as fast as he could, as the only thing Izuku could do at that moment was run. Blinky, what does it say? Izuku said. Help wanted. Raiding. It emphasizes raiding here quite a lot. Blinky, stop pissing about and tell me. My classmates are there. If anything happens there, we're screwed. We might end up going into the fucking light about this. It says here that the raid on the USJ is meant to be a thing to bring out the troll hunter. But even if you do go out there, there's a chance you might end up dead, Blinky said. Well, there's a chance I'm willing to take. If he's there, then I'll be able to fight. But I don't know if he'll be able to survive sunlight though, unless he'd be able to block it off. Shit, he's gonna use the fucking things from the USJ to block out the lighting. Arg, follow me, Izuku said, as Arg rushed in. How are you planning on getting there, Izuku? You know the only way there is... Well, the gyre's optional, isn't it? It goes straight under Japan, so the easiest way to do it is by making another hole for the gyre to fit through. Find the closest direction to the USJ and go straight up. We don't care how long it takes, just do it, Izuku said, shouting at Blinky. You sure about this, Izuku? Yes, I'm 100% sure. Now pull it! As Blinky pulled the lever to release the gyre, as sparks flew and flew around until a giant puff of air, showing that it was breaking the sound barrier, as Izuku and Arg both went flying through. Izuku's hair fell through his horns, as the only thing that was there left was a spitting after image. As Izuku was finally under the USJ, as he shouted Arg to pull the lever to release a puff of energy that threw them up into the air. But before we carry on from Izuku's point of view, let's just quickly switch over to the class of UA. Oh my god, it's the Hero 13, Ochaku said like canon. Yeah, but one thing I wondered, Mr. Aizawa, where's Izuku? Wasn't he meant to be here? Edith said. Yeah, we got a call in from his mother saying he wasn't feeling very well. But other than that, we don't know otherwise, Aizawa said. I hope he's okay. We don't want him to be ill that bad to miss this. But what are we meant to be doing today, Aizawa? As Aizawa was about to speak over before he was interrupted by two portals opening inside of the USJ, instead of one main one being mainly opened. As the portals that were opening released two massive behemoths, one with scaly skin showing that it was rock-like, as another one showing it was the Nomu, with fleshy skin showing that he was charred or even scars across his body, as other villains and trolls alike, even Gum-Gums, came through the portal, as everywhere was filled with villains. As Aizawa did the same thing from Canon and jumped down, but the moment he did, he was overrun instantly, and tried his best to defend everyone who was up there. Even going plus ultra didn't help, as he only managed to destroy half of them at least, before collapsing out of breath. as the actual trolls he took down got back on their feet, as that was around 20% of the people he knocked down. The rest of the human ones, however, they were still knocked out. As the trolls walked over to Aizawa, as 13 rushed down trying to get there as fast as possible, but a rumbling under the ground knocked the troll's concentration off Aizawa for 1 second before a burst of energy came out from the underground. "Arg, throw me!" Izuku shouted, as Arg threw Izuku, as a chant was heard. "For the glory of Merlin, daylight is mine to command!" As Izuku shouted it, as a form of armor surrounded him, as a helmet was formed to hide his identity. "Daylight!" Izuku shouted, as he threw it straight at Bullock's head, missing just by an inch and cutting his face slightly, leaving a slight scratch. As Izuku dragged Daylight back into his hands and took a stance and rushed in. As the moment he rushed in, almost half of the villains that Aizawa took down previously were now taken care of. Well, in turn, let's just say they died, because when trolls reduce to daylight, they expand and die. As Izuku took most of those down, as Aizawa looked bewildered of what was happening. A knight in armor saved him? What the fuck is this shit? Aizawa thought, thinking it was a form of messed up fairy tale. As Aizawa reached forward, asking the kid, or some form of guy, to run. He doesn't know what he's doing. As the only thing Izuku could do at that moment was just put a thumbs up while he was taking care of the miniature trolls. As the trolls that was taken down, the human ones started to move as well. But the moment that happened, Bakugo rushed down and exploded most of them, getting them dazed. But the moment, however, Aizawa finally caught his breath back and stood back up, telling Bakugo to rush back upstairs immediately, or else he would have consequences. As 13 shouted Bakugo back up, as Bakugo could only do but follow orders, as a vigilante arrived to help Aizawa out as best he could. "Arg!" Izuku said, shouting, as Arg threw a rock boulder right at Bullarg, trying to get his attention off Izuku until he could deal with the trolls. "Try and distract him the best you can and try and get him off of here quick. We need most of these students out of here by the end of the fucking night, Shane," Izuku said. As Bullarg smiled as he rushed in, getting Bullarg's attention, as Izuku finally defeated all of the actual trolls that were surrounding the area with his mighty sword. As Aizawa was still struggling with the human versions of the people, but that was not Izuku's attention. What his was attention on was Bullar. Well, right now Arg is currently being overpowered and thrown halfway across the USJ, as Izuku's only form of actual helping him was on forms of waveforms. Should he help his teacher out and show his identity, or do the same thing but with the opposite, with the humor? What should he do? He didn't know. But one thing he did know, he had to go beyond. "For the glory of Merlin, daylight is mine to command!" As Izuku shouted it again, buffing his power just slightly in the air, as his body tensed up as he threw his body towards Bullar. As the moment his sword made contact, Bullar clashed with Izuku instead of Arg, as Izuku kept on fighting him until Arg finally regained his breath, as he rushed back in and finally grabbed Bullar. But because of Bullar's heightened senses of strength, I would say he would probably knock Arg back, as he punched Izuku straight into the door of the USJ as his armor fell off. as it disappeared because of Izuku's, well, he's tired, so he's gonna get that apparently for stamina drain. As Izuku panted over and over again, as one thing he didn't notice his armor detached, as all of his classmates was looking at him in shock, seeing the kid that they knew, Izuku, looked different somehow. Izuku? Ochako said, not realizing she called him by his first name. As Izuku got back onto his feet, but the moment he did, he took a knee. Damn it, you bullar! I'm gonna kill you for doing that, Izuku said. Midoriya? Ida said. What the hell happened to you? You look so different. As Izuku zoned out because his ears were ringing from the compact of the wall to him, and still hearing the screeching of other friends and family. As Izuku called his amulet to him, as it peered from the bottom of the stairs to his hand. For the glory of Merlin, daylight is mine at command, Izuku said, as armor fell around him like magic. As he was about to rush back in, his feet were frozen, but he walked through it like it was nothing though. As, finally, Izuku tensed his legs as far as he could, as one thing went through his mind. Arg, now! As he shouted it, as Arg ducked down, as Izuku pierced Bolar with the blade of daylight, turning him into stone. As Izuku finally got to his knees, as he gasped for air, losing the last bit of stamina he could muster to fight Bolar and defeat most of the actual trolls and, well, gum-gums that were in the area. Arg helped him to his feet to see, well, his mentor and teacher on the ground, beaten and bloodied, to be on repair. As Arg shouted at Izuku, we need to go now before the people figure out we exist. Well, I think it's a bit too late for that, Arg. They'll probably snitch. So we're better off fighting now, Izuku said, as Arg and Izuku both got into their fighting stance, as they rushed at the Nomu. As Arg threw one punch after another, not getting hit by the Nomu, Izuku threw one slash at another, slashing through the Nomu's leg and arm, but realizing it was regenerating at a faster rate Izuku could slice, so the only thing he could do at that moment was just keep on slicing at the Nomu until he found a weakness. As Arg held back, as he punched the Nomu square in the head, alerting Izuku there was a way to defeat it, but it was hard. Arg, throw me up! Izuku shouted, as Arg grabbed onto Izuku as a shockwave was formed. As the moment Izuku landed on the top of the USJ, roof, he let go with the amount of power the glory could even handle, or the Merlin's amulet. As he released the pressure, a shockwave was also formed once more, as the Nomu was held straight by Arg's strength. As Arg let go, the sword went straight through the Nomu's head, killing it instantly. As 5 minutes went by, as all the students came down, as Izuku took a knee, telling Arg to run while he could. He'll handle the rest. Go, Arg, now! Go back to the gyre and go back to that area, now! I won't say it again, Arg! Izuku shouted once more, getting Arg to finally go. After 2 attempts to get him to go, as he grabbed the gyre and went back to Troll Market to alert Blinky, Izuku was caught out by the humans. As the lights and everything in the USJ turned back on, as the sun finally gleamed back in, as Izuku took his last breath, as he took a knee. Damn it! Why did that Nomu had to punch so fucking hard? Izuku said, holding his ribs, trying to hold them in place before they pierced, his troll-like body. As Izuku fell onto his back and took a breath as his armor fell off as he hid his amulet in his pocket. As all the heroes finally rushed in, they saw a student or person type thing laying on the floor right in front of them. As one of the mainly people who were there who recognized him was Ochako because of the incident beforehand. As she rushed down, as she picked Izuku's head up. Well, I won't say picked up, I'll say by the horns. As she wondered why Izuku looked this way, until Izuku took another breathe in, as he started coughing violently. That fucking hurt! Izuku said, taking another breath in, as his only breathing was a static until 2 minutes later when Recovery Girl came in and kissed his wound, healing his insides, and leaving him healed, but his stamina was still drained, so he still had to be careful the amount he actually used. As Izuku finally took his other breath in, as he finally tried to stand up, but the moment he did, he was handcuffed by one of the pro heroes, Midnight, as Aizawa tried to speak up, but the only thing that came out of his mouth was mutters and forms of blood-curdling sounds as Midnight went over to her friend and picked him up and put him on the, medical bed. As he was took and rushed to the hospital, but for Izuku, he was rushed straight to jail until he was interrogated, where we would leave off right now. Back to the present at the beginning of the What If. So, you're a troll. Half troll. I used to be human a couple of days ago. Wait, so, young Midoriya, so you still have one for all, right? Yes, I do. And how the hell do you look like that? Merlin. You mean the wizard Merlin? Yes, the wizard Merlin. But I thought he was just a myth. Like hell he's a myth. He's more noticeable outside of his fucking dungeon than anything else. Izuku said. So, you're turned into a troll. Yes, you're not one of those thingies that type you as chain. No, I'm a protector. You should have been told about this when you turned #1 hero. Nana Shimura was told about this when one of the other troll hunters was still around. Wait, still around? Yeah, if you look at the footage that one of the actual people in the USJ recorded, it showed me fighting a bunch of those creatures. They're called Gum-Gums. They're basically the evil versions of trolls I'm trying to protect from them. So, that's it? More or less, yeah. So, where do you come into this? Oh, I was the amulet's successor, kinda like how One For All works. But instead of passing it on through blood or DNA, it kinda passes on when you die, automatically. So if you die, what about One For All then? No clue. Well, the amulet's weird in its own way, it's magic. So your guess is as good as mine here, Izuku said. So that I'm really fucking confused, as All Might finished his sentence. Earthquake. This scene's gonna be funny. As earthquaking sounds more like an earthquake came rushing through. As a green blur came straight to the door as it busted open like an opening force. As Izuku moved All Might's skinny form to the right side, but the door still hit Izuku straight on, like what it would be in a normal comic book, as an indent for Izuku's body would be stuck into a wall. Ow! Izuku said, as the door fell straight off Izuku, leaving him in an open area. As Inko came rushing in asking where her son was until she saw a green-haired, horned person right in front of her. As she went over to Izuku and smacked him on the head, telling him he was an idiot for going into the sunlight like that. It's okay, Mom, Izuku said before he got hit again. Kenjagar gave me one of the stones for me to be able to be going into sunlight. It's fine, Izuku said. What happens if you didn't have that stone though? What about Garg? He's fine. I told him to go away before anything got worse. He's fine, Mom, Izuku said. What about Wait, does he know? Yes, he knows. He was meant to be told about it when he turned number 1, but turns out Kanjigar never told him about it. Or Blinky for that matter. Which he should have told him. I'm gonna have talks with Blinky when I have the chance, Izuku said. As Izuku picked himself up as they walked out. Lucky enough, it was night, so they didn't have to actually worry about much, but when the moment they left the police station, Izuku was standing in front of his classmates. This was something he didn't really want to do, but he knew he had to explain why he looked the way he did, so he had to chop it up to a quirk of all things, but Arg was one of the things, and well, the trolls didn't make much difference to try and explain it, but he tried his best to lie. Why the hell do you look like that? Midoriya, Ida said. Wow, quirk discrimination. Love it, Izuku said sarcastically. Wait, how the hell do you even do that? You looked normal before, like human, but now you look trollish, Mina said out loud. But at least you look cool. You have really sweet horns though, Mina said once more. I'm kidding. As Izuku holded them out and told them to be quiet so he can try to explain. But Bakugo interrupted. You had this quirk all along, why didn't you tell me? Bakugo shouted. As nothing went through his head, but for some reason Izuku had to do something and quick before everything escalated. As Izuku heard a chant in his head once more, for the glory, for glory, for glory, for glory of Merlin, daylight is mine at command, Izuku said. As that's where we're gonna end the video. I know halfway through this got boring, but this is something I want to try. If you guys want to see more of this and add more characters into the story, leave your suggestions down below because it helps out a lot. And also, thank you for the last 2 videos being really good in the algorithm. That was fucking amazing of you guys to try and help me out there. Thank you very much. And also thank you to Blue Crowning for shouting me out. That is very much appreciated. Thank you all and have an amazing day. This took me 3 hours to record, by the way, because my voice is fucked.